Hello, everybody, and welcome to FanZcene Vids, my channel. Tonight with me, I have director Adam Marcus, who many of you probably know from Jason Goes to Hell, who directed that. But we're going to start first with his new movie, Secret Santa, which is a horror comedy and a rather good one, too. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, brother. It's good to be here.
Now, give the people a little bit of information on about this movie, Secret Santa.
Secret Santa was sort of my answer to kind of holiday horror and also holiday comedy horror. Because for me, like my favorite Christmas movies are things like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I love that movie. Right? And right. A Christmas Story. And those are movies that take the holidays seriously in one regard. It's that sort of spirit of Christmas, that idea of love and caring about one another. And I kind of wanted to do the flip side of that and really go super gory and really hit the comedy button as hard as I could. Because I also love movies like The Ref, which is kind of a great Christmas comedy. Yeah. And so Secret Santa was, my antidote to all of these treacly Christmas movies, and also kind of an answer to the constant barrage of Santa Claus horror movies. Right. And by the way, I love a lot of those movies. I really do. But you get to a point where you're like, wow, another killer Santa. Oh, a snowman come to life. I got it. Elves. Yeah. That's terrifying. Yeah. And so for me, I find the scariest thing about Christmas is actually having to spend the holidays with your family. Right. And I think that that's something that every human being can attach themselves to that idea, because no matter how much you love your family, after a couple of hours with them, there are people you just want to fucking kill. Yeah. There's always that one person that gets on your nerves and you're just like, can you please just shut up and get away from me right now? Yep. And you can't get away from them because you're stuck at the Christmas table, you're snowed in, or simply out of obligation, you sit there. But you really, and especially in this day and age, people are so divided, families are so divided politically and otherwise, that you're always going to end up in those conflicts. So my feeling was, okay, how do I take that feeling, that idea, and what if you could say anything you wanted to say, and then you could do anything you wanted to do? Yeah. And that's really where Secret Santa came out of. So Secret Santa is a holiday haramedy that works for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all gatherings of family. And it is really it's a cynical take on, we're all supposed to think that our families are the best, right? And family first and all that stuff. You know what? That's a lot of bullshit, because what if you happen to be married? What if you happen to, be born into a bad hand? Like, you just got dealt a shitty hand, a bunch of people that aren't like you or don't share your sensibilities, and now you're stuck with them. And that's supposed to be this like tribe that you never drift from. That's not, and by the way, I love my family, but trust me, they are full of people that you're like, oh, just shut up already. And by the way, I'm sure they feel that way about me at times. Yeah, I agree 100%. And there's just, something about the stress and stuff that the holidays put on you, especially at Christmas time. And like you mentioned, I'm really glad it wasn't like a killer Santa type movie, because like I was telling you backstage, I'm not a huge fan of Christmas horror movies, and that's probably one of the reasons why, because it's always centered around like, oh, look, this happened to this kid, so now he's a killer Santa Claus. Where yours is, I thought, was very character driven, very relatable comedy, a relatable family. They're put in situations that are just absolutely absurd, but also at the same time probably could happen, Yeah. And it was just so funny too. And the family, the oldest brother, I cannot remember his name, Jackson. But the stepbrother. Yeah, Jackson, played by Ned Hedrick. Yes, yeah, him, man. Some of the stuff he does in this movie, like with the, I don't want to give too much away here for people, but like with the boyfriend's head in the snow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did not expect to see that. Well, you know what? It's funny. There have been a lot of movies that like someone will make a comment like that or make a threat like that, and I was like, no, we're going to take it seriously. We're going to go all the way with this. So that's that's the thing about Secret Santa. It's like when we made the movie for such a tiny budget, and when you make a film this low budget, look, I had an effects master who's like a brother to me. Bob Kurtzman and I have been best friends for years, and here's the thing. I know that Bob is going to deliver me like incredible effects every time, but I also know I can't afford too much just material wise because Bob didn't charge me to do this movie. Bob and I did this out of love because we love each other and we're a brotherhood and we wanted to make this movie. And by the way, it's really funny because I talk so cynically about family, but the truth is, for me, the family that you choose is your family. Like my friends are my family. And when I say someone's my brother, that means like I'm ride or die. Like we're there till the end. So when you choose your tribe, then you're choosing people that are like-minded, that want to have even spirited discussion, but respectful discussion together. And that's guys like Bob. So, Bob can do only so much with the money that I have available to make something like this tiny movie happen. So you go, okay, if I can't show everything I want to show, then I better be able to say everything I want to say. And in this movie, the dialogue and the comedy, one critic in England said this movie gets a lot less violent the minute people start stabbing each other and shut the hell up.
Yeah, it does, because like they're all just like bad mouthing and bickering, and then when the dad just like, as it shows in the trailer, just like stabs his brother-in-law in the throat. It's just like from then on out.
And again, it's even the idea of stabbing this guy in the throat with a fork is exactly the kind of sensibility and sense of humor the movie has. First off, it's always funny to say "fork you," but the other part of it is that I'm one of these people, when I show violence on screen, I want it to hurt. I don't want it to just be, ooh, cool. I want people to go, oh, Jesus. Yes. Because for me, look, even though, I made Jason Goes to Hell and Texas Chainsaw, here's the thing. No one understands what it feels like to have a chainsaw cut through them. No one knows what that feels like, because if you get a chainsaw that cuts through you, you're dead. So you have no chance to tell the tale of the chainsaw ripping your guts out. But everybody knows what it's like to get a paper cut.
Right.
So for me, there's something about personal violence, little violence, that's so much more devastating. And I will tell you, like, even when the two sisters go at each other, one with a broken bottle, one with a carving knife, when the knife is inserted, I don't just insert a knife. I then want the knife twisted.
Yeah.
This movie is full of people getting the twisted knife, you know?
And it's the scenarios that everyone is put in, and when it happens, and the chef, the blonde chef, the scene after, let's say someone, I don't want to spoil for people ever, but there's a murder happens, and she's in the van, and she's like, listening to that rap song. It's like you go from this extreme, like this moment that you talk about, like where this guy was like brutally twisted and everything, right into this next scene like this, and I was like, that is great, that is hilarious, I loved it.
When this movie goes to 11, it really goes to 11, and it never lets up from there. Like once we're off to the races, it never slows down.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a nice little twist on how people end up how the family ends up going crazy.
Thank you.
I will give you a little. It kind of felt like the movie The Crazies at times to me. Mm-hmm. I felt that from that, which I really like, because I really like George A. Romero, and The Crazies is a great flick. And so I was really that was another thing that really got me in this movie, was how. I mean, it's its own original movie. I'm not. It's
that's dude. Are you kidding? That's a beautiful comparison. Thank you.
So like especially with like the ending. I don't like someone's getting. I'm not trying to spoil it, but like it really gave me the Crazies vibes, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot.
that George's movie, that was a seminal movie when I was growing up. That was a movie that I really loved. And by the way, I think the remake is actually a pretty decent remake of the remake.
So do I.
It's pretty fun. But that original film has got a documentarian's feel to it that makes it feel like that shit's happening right now. There's nothing slick about it. It's shot so handheld. And the actors, like, you don't know any of those actors. So it really feels like you're watching a documentary.
Yeah.
I will say another one of our great reviews was somebody had said that it was, that this movie is equal mix National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and The Crazies. I
totally felt that. I did. It was.
I love that. Like, that to me, that you couldn't give us a better compliment than those movies. So yeah. I'm thrilled. Yeah, I
agree. And honestly, the low budget of the film, I think, plays in its favor too, because it feels much more like relatable and connectable.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah, and look, the fact that a lot of our cast. I mean, my cast of actors. I'm very lucky in that I run an acting studio in LA. That is my own studio, which is Skeleton Crew's Theater Works. And the thing about the Skeleton Crew troupe is, I've got 60 actors that I work with every single week who I know inside and out. Like, I know these people. I know what their performance level is. I know what characters are best performed by them. I know how to talk to them in a way where truly I can say 2 words, they understand the direction entirely. So when I went to make this movie, knowing that I had very little money and we shot the entire film in 11 nights and 1 day, I knew that I needed a cast. And again, it's 13 people around that table for most of the film. So I'm covering that many people. That's an insane amount of people to cover in only 11 nights in a day. So it's kind of nuts. So I knew I needed a team that was going to be able to pull all of this off no matter what. And so I had this incredible acting troupe. And while all of them have done a ton of TV shows, they've done a bunch of movies, and some of them are pretty significant actors. I mean, Michael Rady, he was Custis in the Sister to the Traveling Pants movies. And then went on to be like the king of the Hallmark Channel. He's done 5 network series at the top of show. I mean, the guy's had a crazy career, right?
Yeah.
Even someone like Michael, he doesn't feel like the movie doesn't have star names that throw you out of the movie. So you're not going like, well, look at George Clooney playing the dad. No, these are real people. And I think that helps to make it relatable to the audience. It's like I've always said, I vastly prefer the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre over the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And not that the remake isn't well done. It is very well done. And it's actually a much higher caliber of acting talent than the original film. That being said, the remake looks like an Abercrombie and Fitch catalog, where the original film, that is the most motley, unattractive group of people you could put in a van. Like, even the hot girl, you're like, yeah, all right, she's okay, but give me a break.
What's the chick you knew in high school?
Right. And that's the point. Like, that van is a bunch of your friends from high school. So you go, I know what it's like to be in that van. I know those people. And when they die, you feel like somebody you're connected to in some way has just passed away, which makes it much harder to watch, makes it much more terrifying. So for me, casting is one of those things that really raises the stakes. And if you have too many faces that you recognize, it pulls you out of the movie. It doesn't draw you in. Yeah, if you're seeing an action movie and Tom Cruise is kicking ass or Harrison Ford is the president of the United States, yeah, that's a different experience because those are heroes you're looking up to, and it's a hero in the movie. But in horror films, they are so much better off when we don't know nobody knew anyone in Friday the 13th in the original film. Nobody.
That's right.
They were anonymous. Even Kevin Bacon, all he had done is Animal House up till that point and some soap opera work. So nobody knew that fucking dude, right?
Right.
The anonymity of Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. That's what makes it scary. Because they're you. We recognize those people as that's me on screen. And that's what's exciting about those movies. So yeah, Secret Santa, we tried to work in that tradition. The other thing, about the casting of the film, beyond the fact that I work with really brilliant actors, is also, the movie looks like your family. So it's not like, like most horror movies, oh, look, a collection of teenagers or 20-somethings playing teenagers. It's a family of people that range in age from, in this family, early 20s all the way into the 70s.
Right.
And that's on purpose. Like, I want you to feel like you're sitting with your family. Your family has people of different sizes, different shapes, different colors. That's the world we live in. So I want the movie to sort of reflect the audience that's sitting around that table.
And it was a great representation, like you said. And I totally agree that you need actors that are as well, like Harrison Ford, Tom Hanks. You don't need that in these type of movies, and it plays so much better. And I want to thank Rhodes Rants here for giving me a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad and he wants to talk about Creighton Duke he mentioned earlier. So I told him we will get to that. We will get to that. I just wanted everybody to know, talk about his new film, Secret Santa, because it is really good. And you guys should totally check this out. I have the link in the chat and in the description so you can go to the website, check out the trailer, buy the film. It's pretty good, guys. It's a really good, like, horror comedy, like he said. It's really good. Yep. Yeah, it's really good. And we also have Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark here.
Oh, sure. Hey, Midnight's Edge.
So, hey, FanZcene, Adam. What's up, Tom? Yeah, so, like, is there anything else you want to say on Secret Santa before we move on?
Dude, look, I just, we're right in the middle of that period of time when this movie becomes hot every year and sort of everybody comes back to it. And look, all I can tell you is, this is one of those movies. It's a lot of Christmas music, and there's definitely a Christmas theme to it, but it does not need to be Christmas to watch this movie. Quite frankly, it works great in the holidays, but it is that perfect movie for any time that you get stuck with your family.
Right.
Easter, the 4th of July, any of those periods of time, this movie does talk about the problems with having to deal with your damn family. And there is something cathartic about it. So look, it's out of everything I've ever shot, it's the thing I'm the most proud of. I did it for no money, and I did it because I love the people I work with, and I love the story. It's the most fun I've ever had making a movie. So yeah, and I would recommend, look at streaming, which is awesome. It's on Amazon. It's on Google Play. It's supposed to be on iTunes this week. And we're very proud that it's there, and that's a great way to watch the movie. But I do have to say, the limited edition Blu-ray and DVD has a 72-minute documentary on there called Naughty or Nice, The Making of Secret Santa. And I will tell you, I am as proud of that documentary as I am of the movie. And it's great because the movie is this cynical movie about family. The documentary is this totally positive movie about the family you choose. And it's my family of filmmakers and artists that went to make this thing. So it's kind of the perfect yin-yang on the disc. So I recommend it, man. And if you go to the website, I'm signing copies. We've got signed posters from the cast and crew. It's pretty badass. So
yeah. And physical media all the way.
Yeah.
Nothing is streaming. Like I said, I watched it on streaming, but physical media, man, 100% support that industry. And I mean, you get cool things like the 72-minute documentary, which I absolutely love watching those on movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And perfect segue here. Speaking of documentaries, you're doing a documentary called Hearts of Darkness, The Making of the Final Friday, about Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah. Tell a little people about that, and I'll get the Indiegogo link in there for you.
Oh, that's great. That's great, man. Yeah, we are doing Hearts of Darkness. It was a movie that for many years I've been asked to do a documentary about this film, and I was really excited. At first I wasn't really excited about doing it. I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to revisit that period of my life. And there is such a it's such a love or hate movie. Like there's not a lot of people in the middle that are like, oh yeah, it's fine. Either people are sort of rabid hatred for it, or they really freaking love the movie. And so a couple of years ago on my birthday, a couple of guys that I really love, that were fans at the time and have now become friends, These two dudes, TJ Bowser and Corey Kaufman, they, for my birthday, set up a webpage on Facebook, a Facebook fan page called Jason Goes to Hell, the final fan page. And it was really sweet. I was like, oh, that's really nice. That's really cool of you guys, right? Within a few days, this thing had a couple thousand people on it. And I was like, what is this? And all of them were asking for a documentary, for the real story of this movie. So I kind of went, you know what? If the fans want this, if this is what everybody wants, I'm going to put up an Indiegogo campaign. If these guys want to help support the movie and get this thing funded, I will go make this movie. So Skeleton Crew Productions, my brilliant partner, Brian Sexton, and my amazing writing partner and wife, Deborah Sullivan, that's the three of us as Skeleton Crew. We decided to do this. And I have this amazing producer, Ali Rivera, on the film. We brought in Edwin Samuelson, who's a fantastic documentarian out of New York, out of Brooklyn. And Peter Bracke, the guy who wrote the book of Friday the 13th. In fact, I call him sort of the Library of Alexandria when it comes to information about the Friday the 13th franchise. If he burns to the ground, we will lose all knowledge of the franchise. Peter Bracke came on, and he's our historian, and he's also the guy running all of our interviews. So he's the one who's done all the research. He's been amazing. Just truly amazing. And him and I have become very, very close over these last couple of years. And by the way, Edwin and Peter are the guys who put together all the behind the scenes stuff for the box set from Screen Factory. So like that amazing box set that's out there, these guys are the ones who put it together. And I'm all over that thing. I'm all over that box set because these guys wanted my involvement, which I was thrilled to give them because they're awesome dudes. So the Indiegogo went incredibly well, so well, in fact, that a year after the movie got funded, we're still up. So people can still donate to the movie and get all kinds of cool swag and cool stuff, like for donating to this thing. I even think there's still a couple of producer credits left and stuff like that. So it's a movie for the fans, by the fans.
Yes.
And that's what's been so fun about it. The other part, we started to shoot in January. We were funded in December. We finished our funding in December last year. And we started shooting immediately in January. January, February, we shot 29 of our interviews. We were kicking butt, ready to have this thing out before the holiday, before Halloween. And COVID hit. And I had 6 more interviews to do, and we hadn't shot, the convention that I was going to be at, interacting with fans and screening of the movie and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I guess pause. So we were paused. We have gone out and shot a couple more interviews in the last couple of weeks, and then of course LA got shut down hard again, which is good. Like we needed to be shut down. It's that's cool. And again, I'm happy to wait it out, guys. Like it'll just give us time we can raise a little bit more money. I can do better animations. I can do all kinds of cool stuff for the movie, which is all good. But we are we're slowly heading back into production. We even got a couple extra interviewees signed on that we couldn't get back then, and now we got them, which is amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So like we just got Michelle Clooney signed on, who plays Debbie, the girl in the tent. So yeah, and she's brilliant, and she was working nonstop when we were originally shooting, so she couldn't shoot, and now she can. So it's like, okay, we will benefit from the moment of time, because I do want the whole story told. Like I want everybody who wants to speak to get a chance to speak. And the movie is really going to go from the beginnings, my beginnings as a kid with the Cunningham family, all the way through my time at NYU and apprenticing for Susan Cunningham as an editor, and then moving into my career. And, by the time I was 22, I was hired to write and direct this movie. By the time I was 23, I was shooting the film. So I was the youngest writer-director in the history of the studio system to be hired to write and direct a feature film. And there are historical things about this film, even if you hate the movie, which I get it. Like I get when people hate the movie, and I'm not one of those guys that gets like butthurt. I for one, I love it.
I think it's a great movie, and like I've talked to you before, it felt to me like a Universal monster movie setup, but also its own original. You were trying to do something original, different, which I totally get, and I understand. You know, I wanted to see Jason the whole movie too. I get it, yeah, but I thought you did a pretty good job, in my opinion. I enjoy the movie. I like watching it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Look, you know, here's the thing: when you're told to take the fucking hockey mask out of the movie, and that's the only rule you're told to follow, and you're 22 years old, you go, yes, sir, I'm going to take that hockey mask out of the movie. That's just kind of the way it went down. And Sean Cunningham has tried to deny that over the years as though that was my idea. Okay, yeah, I'm the guy who told Sean Cunningham what to do with the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. You know, whatever makes you feel good, Sean. But here's the thing: the movie, you know, it's warts and all. It's going to have testimonials from people that hate the film. It's going to have testimonials from people who freaking adore the movie. So we're all over the gamut with this thing because, again, I want the story told. If we're going to do it, let's do it. And so it's not a puff piece. It's not there to make me feel good about myself. No interest in that. This is a movie really about the way this thing went down, and then the reaction of the world and the reaction of people, how it turned and changed, and how it is now turned again, where the thing has become kind of a cult item. Like, people love this movie. I mean, dude, I'm making a documentary about a movie that came out 27 years ago.
Right. And
you know, there's a reason.
Yeah, it spurred that conversation, you know, amongst Friday the 13th fans. You know, it's one of the biggest horror franchises. You got Jason Voorhees, and the things that happen in it, you know, people will talk. It's go talk. I mean, you got the Freddy glove, you got the evil Necronomicon, you got you know, Jason dies in the first 4 minutes of the film, 8 minutes of the film, and then he doesn't come back till the very end. I mean, I enjoyed it, but yeah, I get people's complaints. Like you said, I get people's complaints. I understand, and it's so interesting that we will be able to see this documentary on Indiegogo, which I have the link right there in the chat for anybody. Go to it. I plan on getting the Blu-ray of it. I plan on backing that because I really want to see this. I want to hear it. Like when we talked last time, you had me so interested to find out why Voorhees was spelled wrong. And you would tell us because I completely get why you won't tell us because I want to see it.
That is a piece of information I found out while we were shooting. And when the fans find out how that happened, how the misspelling of that fucking mailbox, which has been the bane of my existence for the last 27 years, there's going to be a lot of fanboys who are going to have to walk back their comments pretty hard.
So I want to see that. I want to hear that. I'm definitely going to be back. I'm going to have to wait till after Christmas because, you know, as we were talking about Secret Santa, the family and the gifts. So I'll be waiting after that. And then after that, I'm definitely back in it. I'm going to get the Blu-ray. I'm looking forward to it. I want to hear all about it. And speaking of Jason Goes to Hell and Rhodes Rants, who is a great guy here, he wants to know about a Creighton Duke movie. Now, you do have a little bit of information on this. It's not going to be Creighton Duke, but it's going to be.
It's a Creighton Duke inspired film that Stephen Williams and I are working on together. Stephen, I love working with Stephen. Like, I love him. He is a maniac. The guy is just completely crazy and brilliant. When we came to interview him at his home in California, he came to the door wearing no shirt, holding a knife in one hand and a beer in the other.
That's awesome.
And literally, like, when my crew was up there, he was like, "The fuck you doing here?" and they were like, "We had an appointment." He's like, "No, I know. I'm kidding. Come on." So, I mean, that's his sense of humor. And then Stephen and I met at a show where they were doing this amazing thesis project that this young student was doing about great info dumps in horror movies, and called the info dumps in Jason Goes to Hell the greatest example of an info dump, handled in a way that it was entertaining for the audience. And she brought Stephen on stage and did like a 45-minute Q&A with him, which is amazing. We shot that as well. That's also in the doc. Dude, look, we have shot over 85 hours of footage for this movie so far. I mean, it's an insane undertaking. And I never thought it would be. Like, it's crazy. But the thing about the movie that Steven and I are working on together, look, we loved working with each other, and we both love Creighton Duke. The problem is that the Friday the 13th franchise, the rights are so fucked up at this point.
Yeah.
And look, Victor Miller beat Sean Cunningham, thank goodness. It looks like, Sean's got an appeal going, but it does look like Victor's going to win that out. Victor's a great guy. If that's the case, I will go to Victor and see if I can secure the rights to the Creighton Duke character, which I don't think will become a problem, but we'll see. If not, here's the thing. There is absolutely no rights or no copyright violation of Steven Williams and I working together and making another movie where he happens to play a guy who's dressed all in black,
right?
Who has a badass back brace, who is, perhaps stopping an army of evil from taking over our world. So there's nothing that stops us from doing that. So we're doing that. We have a movie that we're making called Hell's Bells. It is nuts. It's fucking crazy movie. And Steven is such a badass. He's in incredible shape. And you're going to get to see what I would have loved to have done had I made a Creighton Duke sequel. It'll just happen to be the same guy who played Creighton Duke and the same director who directed him playing Creighton Duke. So, yeah. So that's what we're making.
He truly is a great character. He was such a badass in that movie. Yeah. I really enjoyed him. And like you said, you had a whole little backstory for him. Because some people thought he was the kid from Friday the 13th.
Yeah, Reggie.
Reggie. Yeah. But you have a great backstory that you talked about last time for Creighton Duke. That was just I would have loved to have seen in that film.
Yeah, I would have too. We wrote it and we shot a version of it, and then it got cut mostly for time because they wanted to keep the movie under 90 minutes when it went to theaters. Look, Creighton Duke has an amazing backstory and why he's so obsessed with Jason and why he spent his whole life searching for Jason. And it's also something we go into in the documentary to some degree. But look, he's a guy who, this dude was in love. He was a teenager. He's out on Crystal Lake with his girl. And suddenly something hits the bottom of their boat, capsizes them. And this teenage boy watches the girl that he's about to propose to her. He watches her get pulled down into the depths of Crystal Lake by Jason Voorhees. And he dives under to try to find them, and they're gone. And this guy vowed vengeance from that moment forward and spent his entire life trying to figure out how to get this guy, Jason Voorhees. So it's been his obsession his whole life. And he becomes a bounty hunter. He also dabbles in the occult and starts figuring out how to get this guy. And he's the one who figures it out. So that's why, look, here's the thing about the Friday the 13th franchise. And by the way, in Jason Goes to Hell, the Stephen Freeman character, John LeMay's character, was originally supposed to be Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And I couldn't have the character. Paramount had not sold the rights to that character to New Line. So I couldn't do anything with that. Okay, fine. I'm screwed that way. So I created Stephen Freeman, who is supposed to be sort of Tommy Jarvis adjacent. But the thing about the Friday the 13th franchise, and quite frankly, the thing about most of these serial killer franchises, the big ones, the movies are so rich with villains, but they are sadly lacking heroes.
Right.
And it's always been my biggest problem with those movies is that, look, the first one of any of these franchises, whether it be Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, they are terrifying. They're terrifying because we are scared of the shark that's in the water. It's a shark. It has no personality. It is just coming for us. And even in Nightmare on Elm Street, nobody was rooting for Freddy Krueger in that movie. No one. We were rooting for the heroes. That's why the first of all of these franchises is the scariest movie.
Right.
Then
yeah,
you get the sequels, right? And the sequels, suddenly the fans are cheering for the villain, not the heroes. Well, if you're cheering for the villain, it's not scary anymore, guys. Now it's just it's a carnival ride, but it's not a horror movie. And so Creighton Duke being in this film, he is the Robert Shaw. He is the Quint of our movie. And, in Jaws, nobody is rooting for the shark. They're rooting for Chief Brody.
Right.
For Matt Cooper. That's who they're rooting for. Those are the movies that I love. And so, he was brought on to be our Quint, while John LeMay is kind of playing our Brody. And I wanted that idea of a shark in the water because in my film, you don't know where Jason's coming from next. He's under the surface. It's not just the hockey mask that's going to come at you. It could be your best friend coming at you. It could be the boyfriend of your mom, like in the case of Sheriff Landis. So there's this sense, and again, I owe so much to John Carpenter's The Thing, so much so that I even quote it in Secret Santa at one point. I have a character literally do a line from the
You do. I remember that. Yep, I remember. Yes.
So a lot of my filmmaking comes out of that school of Carpenter, of this idea of like where's the villain going to come from next, and for me that's scary. That idea always makes me nervous, and so I wanted Jason Goes to Hell to have some of that. It's look, I do a lot of referencing in my movies. I don't pretend that I'm not paying homage to filmmaking heroes of mine. I think it's grotesque when people pretend like there are filmmakers who shall not be named, who will literally rip off an entire film, but they never reference the movie literally. So somehow people don't see it as a ripoff. I see that as much more of a ripoff. So I'd rather pay homage to something. And look, I see you got that great Evil Dead poster behind you.
Yep. Evil Dead, that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah, the Evil Dead is one of my favorite films of all time. The original movie, not the remake. The original movie.
Yes, the original movie. Yes.
Right, and the thing is, when I was a kid, that movie came out, and I had to get a shitty VHS copy from New York City because it was not playing anywhere in Connecticut where my mom lived. So I went to New York. I got a friend of mine to get me a bootleg VHS of the movie. We watched it in my friend's basement, my friend Dan Lowenstein's basement, and we were scared out of our minds. And for me, I was so inspired because I'd read every issue of Fangoria that ever was. And I was like, here's these young guys and gals who were college buddies who just went and made a movie. Like they had no money, they had a little expertise, and they just went and made something.
Yeah.
And to me, there's nothing more inspiring than that. So when I started to think about like, how am I going to tell this story of evil? Because here's the thing, the Friday the 13th franchise has this giant hole in it. Okay. Which is the first movie, there was a little boy that comes out of the lake at the end of that film who drowned in the 1950s. And it's now 1980. He's still a little boy stuck at the bottom of that lake. Then 2 weeks later, when the prelude for Friday the 13th Part 2 happens, it is 2 weeks later. That little boy is now a full-size man. He somehow secured clothing that fits him really nicely. He has had to have learned to read because the only way to find someone back in 1980 was to go through the yellow pages. He's learned to drive because I don't think sackhead Jason lumbered through town. And he also brought his mom's head. By the way, then he takes Alice's body and his mom's head back to Crystal Lake for his shrine. So that's a lot of activity for a guy who was a little boy drowned in the lake only 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So, I love when fans are like, they get upset about the, like, oh, then in Part 6, he's zombie Jason. And then in Part 9, he's like a demon, like a worm. What is that? I'm like, wait a second, guys. Are you trying to tell me that Jason Voorhees in the first 4 movies is just a dude? Like, that's just a guy, is it? Because I see him get hacked up with a machete in Part 2. I see him take all kinds of abuse in Part 3. By Part 4, Corey Feldman turns his head to hamburger meat at the end of the movie.
Right.
Yet somehow there's a head on him in Part 6. It's still there. Where did the head come from? So for me, I sat there and said, okay, Sean Cunningham's first movie is about a mother and her grief. That's what the film's about. So if this woman would do anything to have her dear Jason back, wouldn't she turn to the dark arts? Like, wouldn't she? She was out of her mind. She wouldn't go to the devil, this woman who would murder all these people? Of course she would. So right. How much more interesting is it if this woman gets her hands on the Necronomicon? By the way, the book is the Book of the Dead from the Evil Dead movies because Sam Raimi gave me the book, right? He gave me that book in a Ziploc bag, by the way, on the set of Army of Darkness. But here's the thing. It's not the same damn Necronomicon from the actual Evil Dead franchise. There's a lot of Necronomicons. I love that people are like there's only one. No, there's not. That's not true. Even in H.P. Lovecraft lore, that's not true. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
So she got her hands on a Book of the Dead wrapped in the skin of an innocent soul. That's the face on the cover. And she read from it. Now imagine if this little boy who is stuck at the bottom of this lake for 30 years suddenly wakes up in the dark, covered in the bramble and the pond scum of Crystal Lake. And he doesn't move. He doesn't know where he is. He's terrified. Remember, this is a kid who was mentally challenged as well.
Yeah.
And one of the first things he sees as he rises to the surface is his mother at the edge of the lake. And then he sees someone cut his mother's head off. Well, that would inspire him to jump out of the lake and pull that woman down into the murky depths, wouldn't it? That would inspire him to crawl from the ooze of that lake. And by the way, if his mother had resurrected him with the Book of the Dead, then I believe him growing to be a full-size man out of his rage for vengeance. I buy all of that because now, and by the way, he doesn't have to be a Deadite. Everybody gets stuck on Deadite. There are Deadites, there are Revenants, there's all kinds of manner of evil creatures spoken of in the Book of the Dead. So this idea that there's only two types of people that come in, oh, stop it. But is it canon that Jason Voorhees has been resurrected by the Book of the Dead? Yeah, it's canon. And for those of you that don't like that, suck it. Because I didn't make a fan film. I made a movie in the Friday the 13th franchise. By the way, with Sean S. Cunningham, the father of the franchise, is the one who produced the movie. So it's canon. Bite me.
I enjoy the fact that he is been brought back from the Necronomicon. I enjoy that. Like I said, mentioned earlier, is that I felt like it was a universal monster universe being set up, which I believe you said you were actually trying to do.
Absolutely, Absolutely. Mostly because of Scooby-Doo.
yeah.
That's the inspiration. I mean, when I was a little kid, and Batman showed up on an episode of Scooby-Doo, blew my 8-year-old mind. I was like, wait a minute, Scooby-Doo knows Batman? Like, what? And then 2 weeks later, the Harlem Globetrotters showed up. So it's like, oh my God, they all know each other. Like, that's a universe of characters. So for me, one of my biggest problems in horror films, or for the audience, is this constant sense of like, well, it's like that Geico commercial, like the kids go, let's hide behind the chainsaws. It's a great commercial because it illuminates this problem that so many horror fans have, which is, haven't any of the people in this movie ever seen a horror movie? Well, what if everybody in horror movies are all in the same universe? And so Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Ash from the Evil Dead, they all live inside the same universe. So they would have connective tissue, especially through magic. The dark arts would bind these people, these characters, these creatures, these monsters. And so that's what I was trying to do with Jason Goes to Hell, was like, say, listen, if I'm going to have Freddy at the end of this movie, why can't I have Ash? So, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, like nobody, it's funny, like the people who hate Jason Goes to Hell, they love those mashup comics, right? They love any time that we put these characters together in any other place. Who do you think started that? That all came out of Jason Goes to Hell. No one came up with that beforehand. It's not true. I love when people try to tell me that Elias Voorhees is not. No, I invented Elias Voorhees. And originally he was supposed to be Jason's brother. He wasn't his dad. The only reason we made it his dad is because when Dean Lorey was taking my original stuff and we cut the whole subplot of Jason having a brother, Dean came into my office and said, hey, Adam, you cool with me using that Elias character as his dad? I was like, great. Sounds great. It's a cool character. Let's do it.
Cool.
But that's how it happened. So all of the cool shit that's happened in the Friday the 13th universe in the last, 27 years was spawned out of Jason Goes to Hell. It wasn't spawned out of Part 7. Nobody talks about Part 7. I'm not saying it's not a great movie. It is. And there's great stuff. I mean, dude, that sleeping bag kill is amazing.
Yeah.
John Buechler, his makeup in that movie is like legendary. It's
amazing. Yeah.
But nobody is like, wow, let's take the Carrie character out of that movie and spin off at the. No, but you know how many times a day I get asked, am I going to make a Creighton Duke movie? So,
exactly.
I blow up the hockey mask 8 minutes into the movie, and I know that pisses off some fans. I get it. I get it. Mm-hmm. But you know what, man? I brought the damn hockey mask back. And if you count the amount of screen time that Kane Hodder dressed as Jason is in this movie, it's more screen time than Jason has in almost any of the other films. That's the truth.
I did not know. So that's cool. Yeah. And Kane Hodder, man, bravo to him. He's a great dude. Great dude.
Dude, he's the best. He's the best. He's a gem of a human being. He's just an incredible dude. And again, you know what I love about Kane? He takes the acting part of it so seriously. Like, for so many years, he's just been, let's get the stunt man. Kane cares about his craft in a huge way. And I think it's a shame. And look, it's something I'm going to rectify. He is going to be in Hell's Bells, and he will not be in makeup. He's going to be Kane. But here's the thing about Kane. I feel like he has not been given enough opportunity to just do character work.
Yeah.
But when he puts on that hockey mask, man, there is no other Jason Voorhees. He is.
He is definitely Jason Voorhees. I mean, the way he performs, and like even when I seen him on Arsenio Hall, as Jason, I mean, the way he did it, it's just like you can tell he has so much love and care for that character.
He loves it. He works so hard. And dude, the other thing that a lot of people forget, Kane was also my stunt coordinator on Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason Goes to Hell is more stunts than any other Friday the 13th film. We were chock full of stunts, like tons of stuff. And I have to tell you, no one got hurt on my movie. And that's all because of Kane. Kane worked tirelessly. Dude, I had one of the drivers, like we just had Steven peels out with that cop car and he kind of lands in position. And the stunt driver of that was the guy who did all the stunt driving for Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon.
Wow.
Like, Kane assembled the most incredible team of stunt people. Julie Michaels, who, plays Agent Marcus in the movie. Julie Michaels is such a badass. Dude, she's won Emmys now for stunt coordinating on several big hit shows. And that's all, her and her husband, Pee-wee. The two of them are like two of the most badass stunt coordinators in our business. Kane Hodder's one who brought them to me to work on the film. So I've just been, Kane was indispensable, not only when it came to being Jason, but when it came to making the film. It's Kane's movie too. Yeah. I was blessed. I was blessed.
That's so cool. I love hearing that. And just for anybody out there who may be getting a little upset about some of this talk, we still like the Friday the 13th films.
I love the film. Are you exactly a giant stupid fan of these movies? I love these movies.
Yeah, I love them too. I mean, like, I love the Carrie character, but you're right. Nobody asked for her to be spun off. And I think that's another thing where a lot of them misstep is because, like, we had Tommy for like 3 movies, and he was a great hero, great character. We liked seeing him and Jason together, and then he disappears. Okay,
look at the success that Vin DeSantis been having with the Never Hike Alone series.
Yes, and those are incredible too.
And in part, that's because he had the good sense to get the Tommy Jarvis character back involved. It's for me, it's a crying shame when there isn't a love of these movies to the point where you start. Look, I know there are people who are literally making fan films about Sackhead Jason from Part 2. That's awesome.
Yes,
like,
that's
listen, I
great.
love everything about the franchise. What I was trying to do with Part 9 was I was trying to I think of our movie in retrospect as like the Rogue One of the Friday the 13th franchise, where, you know, in the first Star Wars movie, there's this one ridiculous hole, and it's literally a hole, which is, who the hell would put in a 3-meter hole into the Death Star, where if you just shoot into it, you blow the whole fucking thing up? It doesn't make any sense. Cut to Rogue One. So I see my film as sort of like a little bit of putty that fixes some of those problems and gives the movie a mythology. And listen, I understand if all you want to do is see a guy in a hockey mask murdering teenagers, God bless you, that's awesome. I love those movies. There are a bunch of those movies. There are 6 movies with a guy in a hockey mask prior to my movie. There's one with a guy in a sack. There's one that's not even Jason Voorhees, which is Part 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. That, I mean, I know people complain about yours, which I actually like yours.
Yeah.
5 I actually don't really like. I mean, it's got good moments in it. It's got good kills, and you know, it's an interesting story. Once again, trying to go in a new direction, which I totally get, and I commend that, because sometimes you do need a fresh, like, you know, fresh new take on something.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't Jason to me. But yours still feels like Jason to me. You know what I'm saying?
Look, and by the way, Part 6 is easily my favorite Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I freaking love that film. I love the sense of humor of it. I love Jason, and I just think it's a great movie. So, and by the way, that's not even a Kane Hodder film. Like, yeah, I love these movies, you know?
Yeah.
It's just they started to come back with diminishing returns. I think, look, the thing I love about Part 5 is there is a certain sleaziness to it, like a dirtiness to it, that I find super compelling, that I think is just really cool.
True. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Yeah.
It's got like dirt under its fingernails, that movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's also really well shot. It's beautifully shot film. So there is something to love about every one of these films. Part 4 is amazing. Part 2 is my second favorite of all the films. And again, I'm including mine in this. So I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, my movie is the best movie. No. Do I think that we had the best kills in the franchise? Yep. Do I?
You have some really good ones. Yeah.
Do I think that I had the best cast of actors in the movie? Yep, I do.
And there's nothing wrong with that too, because I mean, everybody in that movie just plays their part beautifully.
Right? It's just a great cast. And by the way, when you look at the careers that all of those people have gone on to have, it's kind of amazing, actually. Like, it's incredible how many great actors came out of that film. So I'm very proud of that. And I think that we grabbed people at the beginnings of their careers and gave them a chance to do some great work. I also had people like Aaron Gray, who's so good in the movie.
Yeah, Aaron Gray is
so good, you know?
So good.
And so look, I will not shit on any of the other Friday the 13th movies. I think they're great movies. And by the way, Part 7's an amazing movie. I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the cult of anger that surrounds Jason Goes to Hell at times. I think that there's something wonderful about the fact that the people who dislike the movie have kept it alive even more than the fans of the movie.
Right. Agree. And I got another $20 super chat here from my good buddy, the Rookie Critic, who wants to be a director.
Oh,
he wants
that's
to be
awesome.
A director. Yeah, he's a great guy, and he does a lot of cool stuff here on YouTube where he tries out his directing skills. So check him out, everybody. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's why he's just recently gotten a film not too long ago, and it inspired him to want to be a director. He hasn't seen a lot of these, like all these Jason movies. He's probably never seen not even one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Critic, I'd love to hear your thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, and he's he's a really good friend of mine. So
cool.
Yeah, and I hope he does get to become a director.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like I enjoy every single. I mean, maybe some more than others. And like Part 5, like you said, it's got a dirtiness. It's got a little like underbelly to it. I'm not saying that I can't watch it or anything. We all have our favorites. Yeah. So
you know what I find, what I kind of dislike, especially like on Facebook fan pages and stuff like that, is like rate the worst one of the. I'm always like, man, like I kind of don't dig when fan sites do shit like that. If you want to say who are your favorites or rank them in order of your favorites to your least favorite, that's fine. Yeah. But there's like this weird sort of cult of hatred that I just think is gross, and it's not fun, and it's sort of mean girling the movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, look, by the way, whenever, you know, and my movie falls all over the place in these rankings on the sites that only want the hockey mask, I'm always dead last. Okay, fine. Great. It's me, Jason X, the remake, and part 5. We're always at the bottom of this scale when it's one of those sites. But when it's places where you just get individuals talking about the movie, the number of fans I know who started with Jason Goes to Hell, where it was their first one. And Peter Brackey, the guy who wrote Crystal Lake Memories, actually wrote a great article about this, where he said, over the last 20 years, the love for Jason Goes to Hell has changed dramatically because of people who weren't around when the first group of movies came out. So Jason Goes to Hell was their first. Then they went back to the other films and went, wait a minute, where's all that cool shit from Jason Goes to Hell? Like, why isn't that in these movies? So there is a reverse engineering that starts to happen that's fascinating as well. So again, we all have our favorites in this franchise, all of us. And, my favorite is part 6. It's not my movie. It's part 6.
And you know, that's cool, because that's a lot of people's favorite too. Is part 6 is like, just like you ask anybody and it's like part 6. But I totally agree with you. I hate being saying which one do you like the least. I really do hate that, because I don't. Because there's something in each one of these movies, whether you like them or not, that you can say, you know what, that was awesome. I love that scene.
It's the difference between fandom and toxic fandom. And you know, and anyone who knows me and anyone who knows the way I am with the fans of the franchise. By the way, even the people who don't like my movie, I will always sit and listen to somebody's complaint. I'll always talk with them about it. I'm never precious about that. What I will tell you is that, you know, where I won't be okay is what I said earlier. You know, when somebody tells me it's not canon, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You don't get to decide what's canon. The studio decides that. The people who actually spend millions of dollars on these movies, that's what's canon. By the way, there's a lot of Halloween movies that you go, okay, there's a bunch of different timelines, but they're all canon.
Yeah.
Depending on
I like to call the Halloween movies choose your own adventure story.
That's really what they are. That's totally true. It's totally
I love them. I love the Halloween. Like, I'm a huge 80s horror slasher films all around. And you know, the storyline from 1 to 6 is great. But then you can also go from 1 and 2 to H2O, or you can go from 1 to 2018. So I really, I mean, granted, sometimes you want to I can't think of the word. Cohesive. There it is. Cohesive timeline, but it's still pretty cool to have this choose your own adventure style franchise.
And Halloween 3 is the most true sequel to Halloween 1 if you go by John Carpenter's definition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's true. That's true.
He wanted Tales of Halloween. He didn't want to make Michael Myers movies.
Yep.
Michael Myers movies.
And that's, you know, after they kind of screwed him out of his money and stuff, he kind of just bowed out of it, and they did what they did.
Yeah.
And it happens.
Yeah.
Yeti Cast here says, how do you feel when people roast films? He likes to do roast on his channels. He likes roast films, but it's all in good fun.
Yes. By the way, I love riff tracks. I was also a Mystery Science Theater 3000 guy. Like, I love those things. So I'm totally cool. And I'm I can laugh at myself. That's for damn sure. So I think it can be really funny and fun, and okay, cool. Like, I love those, like, the number of things wrong in a movie, you know, like the 143 things wrong in 15 minutes, you know, about a film. I think that stuff's hilarious, because you can take any film, no matter how great it is. You can say stuff's wrong in The Godfather. I mean, I don't think there is, but you could say that, you know? And so, look, I think it's all good. I think, especially if you're doing things in good fun for entertainment purposes, I think that's awesome. Like, I love that stuff. So yeah, I'm all for roasting a movie. Look, I'm all for roasting anything. If you put yourself out there as a performer, If you put yourself out there as a storyteller, there's always going to be someone there to roast you, without a doubt. So yeah, look, I think it's all good.
Right.
I just, the only thing I'll defend is when somebody tries to say that the film is somehow illegitimate. It's not. Sorry.
Yeah. And I like I said, I like that the Book of the Dead was used on him. I like that we got to see Freddy's glove. I did like the kills. I really did like the kills, and it was great. I enjoy it.
Thanks.
Like I said, I enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you created a great film and tried something new, and maybe some people didn't like it, maybe some people did, and like with the Indiegogo, you can actually get to say "fuck you" to you or "thank you" to you, so that goes in line with the roast and everything. So
yeah, no, dude, as I said, I've got a healthy sense of humor about it, and again, I respect all opinions as long as the opinion is respectful. That's it. Like, you can say you dislike something, totally get it. Anything I make is not going to be for everybody. It's not, and that's okay. That's awesome. I just come from a point of view of if you're always respectful of the other person. And again, I made a movie and 150 other people made that movie with me. So people love to come at me, but I also go, me and the film, we represent a whole tribe of people that worked their asses off to make this movie. So things were not done lightly. Things were not done willy-nilly. We worked really hard to make a piece of work that we were all very proud of. Here's the thing. You can dislike it. Talk to me about why you dislike it. Yeah. Because I will tell you, people are baffled when I start to come back with questions of like, okay, so you hate this movie. Yeah, fucking hate this movie. Okay, cool. Got it. Why? You blew up Jason Voorhees in the first 8 minutes of the movie. It's a fucking Jason movie, dude. Okay, cool. I gotcha. Absolutely. Did you like when we brought him back at the end? Well, yeah, that was badass. But where the fuck was he the rest of the movie? I hear you, but you like that thing at the end. Okay. Did you like the effects in the movie? Yeah, no. I mean, K&B rules. Fuck yeah. Effects were amazing. Great kills. Awesome. How about the girl getting split up in the middle in the tent? Oh, it's like the best kill in the whole franchise. Awesome. Got it. Great. Okay. Did you like the acting in the movie? Yeah, I mean, yeah. They were everybody was good. Like characters were good. Yeah, especially that couple in the diner. They were really funny. They were great. Oh, and Creighton Duke rules. He's awesome. By the end of our conversation, this person has told me how much they fucking love this movie. Their problem is that there's not enough hockey mask in the film.
I get it.
I hear it. Like, I got it. Cool. I got that. Awesome. And again, I respect that opinion. I totally do. I do. If you came to see a Godzilla movie and they showed you Mothra, you'd be like, where the fuck is Godzilla? Even if it's the best Mothra movie ever made, you're like, where's Godzilla? I get it.
Yeah.
So much respect to anybody who's got that problem.
Exactly. And Yeti Cass says, this is a fantastic interview / conversation. Thank you, Yeti.
Yes, I'm glad. Awesome, dude.
Yeah. And we've been going for an hour and 2 minutes here, and I do want to bring up one more thing before we go, because I know I said we'd do about an hour.
Yeah.
And this is a conversation I would like to have you back on to discuss. My Boyfriend's Back one day, which you wrote.
What happened with My Boyfriend's Back, and I can talk about it before we go. And by the way, this has been awesome. So I will come and talk to you anytime you want to talk, brother.
Oh, definitely.
I think you're badass, and this is terrific. I think your listeners are amazing. I think actually been interactive and stuff is fucking awesome. Like, love all of that.
Definitely. I'm clipping that.
Here's what I can tell you about My Boyfriend's Back. That was a script that Dean Laurie wrote while we were in college. He and I workshopped it for years in school. So much so that I had done full production design boards on the movie. We had done costumes. We'd done everything for that film. The reason why was that was going to be my first movie. That was going to be the film that I was going to make first out of the gate. When I moved to Los Angeles, when Sean Cunningham offered me the position of his assistant for a year, and then he would give me my shot to direct a movie, I brought that film with me, and that was going to be a movie I was going to make. While I was being Sean's slave, and literally I was Sean's slave, while I was doing that job, I went and got another company, Roger Corman's company, really interested in my movie, Johnny Zombie, which is what My Boyfriend's Back was originally titled. I did that only to push Sean Cunningham to want the movie more, because the minute somebody else wanted it, he really wanted it, right?
Right.
So he read the script and hated the script, but he loved the idea of the movie and he loved the title. Now, originally, the movie was hard R. It was super bloody. It was a comedy. It also had musical numbers. Okay?
Good. Let's see that one now.
Yeah, no kidding. Dude, I'm telling you, that screenplay was epic. But Sean had problems. I get it. And Sean is a very kind of meat and potatoes guy. He's not a guy who thinks outside the box at all. He's just not that guy. So he wanted to hire a different writer onto the movie. And I said, no go. Because he said he was going to give me $1.5 million. I'd go back to Connecticut and shoot the movie. Right. And I was like, okay, let's do that. Right. But he wanted to rewrite and he was going to bring a different writer on. And I said, then I'm not going to sell you the movie. Then I won't make this movie with you. Because I'm not going to screw over my buddy Dean. He worked his ass off on this thing. So I said, look, do this. Bring Dean out. Put the two of us up in some shitty little hotel room. By the way, I'd been living in my car at that point because I had no money. And Sean paid me less than slave wages. And so I said, put us up in a hotel room. We'll write for 6 weeks. Let us do a rewrite for you on your notes. And if you hate it, then you can hire another writer. So he did it. He flew Dean Lorey out here. He put us up in a hotel. We wrote for 6 weeks. And Dean crafted this perfect script for Sean that Sean adored. And next thing you know, we started doing table reads to sell the movie because, you know, in classic style, people in Hollywood never read anything. So my idea was, why don't we read it for them? Like, let's read it for the executives. And we ended up in a bidding war between New Line and Disney. And I begged Sean to go with New Line, begged him. Because New Line would have made the hard R, bloody version of My Boyfriend of Johnny Zombie, along with the musical numbers. Like, they totally got the movie. And Disney didn't. But Disney was willing to make the movie for $8 million. And New Line was going to make it for about $2.5 million. And Sean loves money. So that's how that happened. You know, it's a script that Dean Lorey wrote. It's a brilliant script. The original script is amazing. By the way, the original script is so good that by accident it got sent to Ron Howard by accident from Dean's agency. And Ron read the script and called Dean Lorey and hired him to write a science fiction movie for Ron.
Wow.
That's true.
Awesome.
It was a badass script. It was an amazing piece of writing. Dean's an amazing writer. So
I would love to read that. I would love to read the
dude, it's really good.
I love My Boyfriend's Back. It's one of the,
thank you, dude.
You know, I'm a huge like cult movie 80s, 90s fan, horror, comedy, sci-fi. And that movie is just, I remember watching it as a kid and I was like, I love this. It was so good. And to know that it could have been like a hard R with more blood and gore and even singing numbers, that dude, sounds amazing.
There was an entire society of zombies living in the confines of the cemetery.
Wow. I mean, that makes sense too with what, like, the way the people act when he comes out, because man, it just cracks me up how people are like, oh, he's a zombie, and then he becomes like prejudiced towards him, like he's a third-rate citizen.
When Dean was writing the script, and Dean and I lived together in New York, when we were working on the script, you know, the AIDS crisis had happened. It was the late 80s, early 90s, and a ton of our friends had died from AIDS. And the thing about AIDS was that people would go home to their families and they had all these markings on them from the cancers and whatnot, but they were the same human beings. They were the same person, and you couldn't catch it from them. It wasn't like COVID. You weren't going to get AIDS from somebody, right? That's not the way it works unless you sleep with them. And so here were these people that went home to their families and they were treated like lepers, like zombies. And so when the zombies escape the cemetery in Johnny Zombie, when they make the choice, because Johnny is brave enough to break the area of the cemetery because he wants to go to the prom, the rest of the zombies follow Johnny out. And they can still speak and they can still interact, and they all go home to their families. And suddenly their families, a la Frankenstein, are carrying pitchforks and torches to kill the zombies. Wow. But all the zombies wanted to do was go back home to their families. They didn't want to eat anybody. They just wanted to be with their families. So we were telling this story of prejudice. We were telling this story about tolerance. And while some of that is represented in the film that they made, it's nowhere near what we originally intended to do.
Man, that sounds so. I love hearing this stuff. I like hearing behind the scenes stuff. That's why I said. That's why like your Secret Santa. Once again, plug it. Check that out. It's a good one. 72-minute documentary on the Blu-ray physical media. You don't get that on streaming.
Nope, you do not.
Yeah. So like. That's awesome. That's why I love hearing this thing. And this is something I've been wanting to do with my channel. I don't know a lot of directors. You're like one of the only few directors I know, but I've really been wanting to do like a lot of interviews with guys like you who worked on these movies from the 80s and the 90s, who you are so passionate about what they made, and to hear your guys' story. Because a lot of you guys don't get interviewed that much anymore about these things and stuff. So if I ever get any more people, that's what I plan on doing. And I love having you here. It's been so great, so informative. I love hearing these stories. This is so good.
It's awesome, brother. It's been great hanging out with you, man. It's again, I think your channel's awesome, and I think what you're doing is great. And look, thank you for supporting the new work. Everybody always wants to talk about Texas Chainsaw and Jason, which is awesome. I love those movies. I'm very proud of them. But I'm making movies. Like, I'm making a lot of movies right now, and it's awesome that you're supporting the new stuff, which is fantastic.
Exactly. And please see Secret Santa. It's on Amazon. You can rent it there. You can get it on iTunes coming now, you said. And I got the link to Secret Santa merch, the store, to check out in the description and in the chat. If you want to scroll through that, go up it and get it. And In Search of Darkness, Hearts of Darkness. Hearts of Darkness. I bring up that because I was about to say that if you ever get in contacted by Creator VC, who makes the In Search of Darkness documentaries. If you ever get contacted by them, I really hope they do contact you, because there's rumors that there's possibly a 90s horror movie documentary they're going to be making. Awesome. They're great people. They're amazing. And I would love to hear you on that. I would love to hear you on that.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, definitely. Let them know. I would love to be a part of that. That sounds great.
Yeah. So I'm, if I know a few of them, if I can tell them, I will tell them about you, me and Tom. Cool. But thank you so very much for being on here once again. Like I said, links in the description, in the chat, for Hearts of Darkness and Secret Santa. Check him out. And yes, he's still making movies, people. He's not just Jason. I mean, it's great to talk about Jason and all that. I'm literally
about to leave. I'm about to leave in a month and a half to go shoot a movie in the Canary Islands that will be the most expensive film I've ever shot. So we're doing that literally in 2 months.
So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I really hope you get to make the Creighton Duke movie. And I hope you get the rights to Creighton Duke, so you can call it Creighton Duke. But if not, I mean, I'm still going to be checking it out, because Hell's Bells sounds amazing. And
it's still Creighton Duke inspired. So
yeah. So I mean, I hope you get him, but if not, it's still going to be great. And I would love to see a nod to Jason Voorhees in that movie. And if you plan on that,
you will. You will.
Awesome. Yep. And Galvatron here 117 says Secret Santa's on the watch list. So
woo, yeah. Love it.
I would. Yep, it's amazing. It's a really good one, guys. It's pretty funny, and it's got some great kills. I mean, don't get upset by the CGI blood, because there's still really good practical bloody effects in it.
There's a little bit of CGI, but literally when you're making a movie for as little money as we did, you have to at some point go, okay, we can't get the blood spatter I want. I'll get it in post. Yeah. So sometimes you just have to go that way. It's true. It's true.
And thank you to everybody in the chat: Galvatron 117, Yeti Cast, Rookie Critic, Rhodes Rants, Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark. So many people. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for the super chats. And Adam, thank you so very much. I would love to have you on again sometime soon.
We'll do, brother.
Just talk, man. We'll talk about your new movie. We'll talk more about Boyfriend's Back, whatever you want to talk about. We'll just talk.
Awesome.
And so thank you very much. I appreciate it. And with that,
Merry fucking Christmas, baby.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry fucking Christmas. And thank you. I'm going to end the broadcast. And have a good night, guys.